Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show, and this is Talk Tips number 18, how to actually collect money and get paid as a public speaker. Check it out. Now, this is the really fun part of the conversation when it comes to public speaking. Now, you and I both know that there's an altruistic version of public speaking. We're out there to change lives, and we don't care if the right people say yes and the right people who shouldn't be a part of our problem say yes to what's right for them and it's not us. That's okay. But in order for you to keep doing what you love to do, and in order for you to keep showing up on your podcast, and in order for you to keep showing up on stage, there has to be a compensation model. Whether it's through cash, whether it's through stage appearances where you get to be on stage with a beautiful headliner and credibility builds, there has to be something that feeds you so that you can keep feeding your audience. And today we're going to talk about exactly how to get paid to appear on stage. Okay, so there's really 4 different kinds of stages. If you've seen any of my other videos, I go deep into this. I'll just briefly recap them because there's 3 ways to get paid on those 4 stages. So here's the 4 stages. There's the 2 stages that you own, your physical and your digital, and there's the 2 stages that other people own. Surprise, it's physical and digital. So between those 2 different groups of people and the 2 stages within each one, there are 4 different stages, right? So we've got the physical and digital owned by you and owned by somebody else. Now, in order to get paid to appear on stage, we've got to figure out how to hack this system. So number 1 is what people most commonly think of, and this is called the speaker fee. This is a number set by you, your charge for showing up on stage. Now, you've got to set that number. In fact, I want to know in the comments, throw it in the comments, how much are you charging to appear on stage right now? And if you don't have a number, today is the day where you get to make one up. If someone were to come up to you and say, what's your speaker fee? And you were fumbling and bumbling because you've never said it before, guarantee they're not going to hire you because they don't have any trust in your credibility because it looks like you've never done this before. So name your number, name it in the comments. I want to know what you charge. It could be $200, it could be $500, it could be $5,000, it could be $2,000, whatever you think your time is worth. Name it. So when people ask you, what's your stage fee? You know exactly what it is. That's very, very common. But 60% of the money that you're capable of making on stage comes outside your speaker fee. You can get paid 6 figures in speaker fees alone every year, or maybe even more. But more than that, you're going to make money from what happens on that stage. So this could be something where you get paid to speak. It could be something where you speak for free. And this is the second kind, right? This is getting paid by enrolling clients after you get on stage. This is my favorite way to make money on stage. It is the most lucrative for me, and it serves my clients the best because we get to do more stuff together. I get more testimonials because more people are launching their businesses and more speakers are growing and doing what they do, and everyone's making money. It's the triple win. The clients, the audience, and me, we're all winning with this one. So let's just say I get asked to speak on stage and there's no room in their budget for a speaker fee, or maybe I'm doing a friend a favor or whatever it is. I'm happy to do it. I don't always request this. Okay, but in some cases I say, I'm happy to speak for you. Do I have the ability to give something away to your audience? And usually if it's a free resource that serves the audience, then there's no problem with that. And I'll throw up my QR code or I'll have them text podcast to my phone number. And then I get to grow my email database and help the people that are exactly right for me, and I'll enroll clients. Now, when I'm sacrificing a speaker fee to do this, I have to make sure that I know that this is worth my time. If it's not worth my time, maybe there's another reason that it would be. Maybe there's a headliner on that stage that I want to be seen with. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I can just get on stage with this person, that would be a huge credibility build. I would love to get on stage with that person. I'd love to talk backstage with that person and see how I can contribute to what they're doing and what they're growing. And now, number 3 is the sponsored stage. Now, this is where you got to get really good at your math and see where there's an ROI for you, because not only now are you investing your time, you're investing your money. And if there's an ROI on that, great, let's do it all day long. But if there's not, you may pay to be on a stage and you flopped it because you didn't have a call to action, or you didn't know that you should be charging people, or you don't know how to collect clients. Now, these sponsored stages, there's usually a stage fee to be there. right? It could be $100 to show up on that stage. It could be $1,000 to show up on that stage. Once I was offered a chance to speak with Jordan Peterson for $25,000. And oh my gosh, I wish I had taken it. That was one of my biggest, missed opportunities because I didn't take advantage of that. How awesome would that be? Now, again, I'm only going to pay that amount if it makes sense for me to put my time and my money on the line. If I don't know how to make an ROI out of it, then I shouldn't sponsor a stage. Now, you can also sponsor a stage by saying, hey, I would love to speak at your event. Can I buy your VIP's lunch? Or can I buy the staff lunch? Or can I sponsor a booth in the event? Can I pay to be there? And it varies in price and it varies in cost. But here's the math on how to find out if that makes sense. Number one, how many people are anticipated to not just be registered, but show up for the event? I'm talking about booties in seats. How many people are going to be in the room? Second question is, am I allowed to do a CTA or not? Now, if I'm not allowed to do a CTA, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We just have to make up for it in other areas. Now, if I'm allowed to do a CTA, I want to understand my own opt-in rates. How much of the room says yes when I give something away? I want to know that number. How much of the room that says yes to my stuff ends up buying my stuff, no matter how long it takes? Of those people that buy, what is the average dollar value per customer? Okay, so now once I have all of that math, I can stack it up against the stage fee and say, mathematically, does it make sense? Now, I've been on stages where I wasn't able to understand the ROI yet because I hadn't done the math. I didn't know my numbers. I didn't know all of those numbers, but I tested it out and I experimented with it. When I went to an event, I paid to show up there. I bought the hotel room. I bought the airplane tickets. And I said, I'm going to get every piece of investment back by contributing so much value into this event. While I was there, I set up a podcast interview with one of the other speakers. So I got some content with a beautiful name. I also networked and connected with some of the people that were in the room and said, hey, what are you working on? Hey, how can I help you? And I connected with so many members of the audience and gave them so much value that we still chat and we might even do business together in the future. We might do partnered on retreats. And I'm finding people that I'm not just like, and here, I want to caution, give me an asterisk on this, because if you go an event and try to steal the audience and make them your clients when you're not speaking, or as a leech or as a competitor, that's no bueno. That is bad juju. That's bad karma. Don't do that. Your job is to go and just add value. How can I help you? Tell me about what you're doing. Talk to the promoters of the event. How can I help you grow your event? Maybe we can collaborate together. Maybe there's a piece of your event that I can add on that might be missing. Again, I'm going to repeat it because it's worth repeating. If you go to an event trying to be a leech and steal customers when the event has paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases to put those people in that room, you're going to create bad karma, and there's a good chance you'll never be invited back. Don't do that. Your job is to go in and contribute, not take. Go be a giver. That's what you got to do, especially if you're going to an event and you're not speaking. If you're going to an event and not speaking, trying to use it to selfishly build your network because you're so numbers-based and not people-based, it will show and that reputation will follow you. Again, do not do that. Be a giver. Be a contributor. Add the value, and that will come back to you. I just did a podcast with Keaton Hoskins. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it, because we talk about delivering real value into the world and how sometimes, especially in events, you can see and you can track where that value comes back to you, and sometimes it's an immeasurable. Sometimes you see that value a year and a half later and say, oh my gosh, I never would have had this opportunity if I hadn't met this person at the event way back when, a year, 2 years, 5 years ago. I've seen that happen to me so many times where a connection that I made in an event came full circle, and now we do business together. It's amazing. So you never know who might be in the room, but always be a contributor and a giver. And I know I'm saying that in the middle of how to make money on stage, but this is the key behind it. You can't be so focused and blinded by the dollar signs that you trample people in the process, because money doesn't come to you without people who give it to you. All right, friends, those are the 3 ways that you make money on stage. If you have questions, make sure you ask them in the comments, or better yet, just text me, 801-509-5600. 5495. And if you want that podcast database I talked about, just text me the word podcast to 801-509-5495. I'll send it over and I'll see you on stage.
Marianne Hickman here again. Listen, I hope super helpful for you. Maybe you learned something new. Share with me in the comments what was valuable. Or if you have this whole separate question like, hey, I wanted to know about this. I wanted to know about stage fright. I want to know how about my presentation on stage. I want to know about how to dress on stage. Anything that you want to know that's relevant to growing your business through stages, put the questions. Because guess what? I go through and answer all of those personally. That's not an agency or a VA. That's me going through and looking at your questions because you are who I am here for. So last thing is I want you to get this database. If you haven't gotten it already, now I've got thousands of downloads on this thing, so maybe you've got it, but if not, make sure you go to mariannehickman.com/database. What that's going to do is take you to a page. You're going to input all of your information. We're going to send the database to you. You're going to request access to it. I keep it locked down so I can make sure I get it to just the right people. And you're going to request access. And then once you have that, you're going to go through and apply to podcasts that have the topic that you'd be an expert speaking on. Here's the thing. I get this database updated twice a week. So there's always new stuff in there. And if you're a podcaster, there's even a list of guests that you can have on your show on that podcast. Maybe you end up doing a podcast swap and you grow your audience that way. Regardless, I want you to get it. So mariannehickman.com/database, and we'll see you in the next Talk Tips.